Alright, welcome back guys. Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day. So we have another edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for September 14, 2021. This one will highlight all of the raw coins, which are ungraded, that have sold on eBay within the last 2 to 3 days. You guys have probably seen my graded coin edition of this that dropped about 24 hours from the upload of this one, and now we have the one that a lot of folks really do care a lot about because these are again ungraded coins. That is a very expensive expense. If you needed to grade coins, I get the question all the time: do I need to grade this? Can I grade that? You know, and just trying to look for qualifiers, I guess. And 99% of the time, a lot of your errors and varieties, kind of like on the minor side, don't need to be graded. Unless it's something that is meaningful to you, it was family members and you wanted to preserve it, sure, by all means, go for it. But if you're looking to monetize, kind of flip it, make a few bucks in the process, it's not worth doing it. It's way too expensive of a process. Another thing that I wanted to add is a lot of these coins have a lot of their market online. Okay, you could walk into a coin shop right now with about 99% of these coins that I talk about on this video, and they're just not going to be interested. Errors and varieties is a very niche part of numismatics, and sometimes coin dealers, they just don't care about them. You know, they'll tell you go sell it elsewhere, go online, or they'll buy it from you for face value. You know. It's too much of a hassle for them to deal with. But there is a huge market, a huge pool of folks that collect into these that prefer eBay, Facebook, and a few other sites to pick up some of these pieces. And it can be a very affordable way for them to get into the hobby. But for you, as the owners of these coins, you could turn something that you had found right in your change that cost you 1 cent or a quarter and turn around and sell for 20 bucks or 50 or 100. The sky really is the limit. There's a number of coins that sell for many multiple hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, ungraded. And that's the really cool part about this. So again, all of the photos in this is all original from the listing. I didn't doctor or juice any of the listings. You're going to get the best and the worst that the sellers have posted on there. So that way you guys know how low that bar was set for your photography. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in and see what's sold here in the last few days. I'm going to tell you guys this. Just really circulated steel cents are actually quite the breeding pool of various errors. A lot of cuds and die cracks and pre-cuds is what they call it, but it's also referred to as retained cuds are also another great thing to look out for. And they don't have to be pretty. This is a 1943 Philadelphia minted Lincoln wheat cent. When we look on the reverse here on this wheat stock, we see a die crack that goes right from one part of the rim. It goes into the design of the wheat stock. You'll notice that there's some displacement, but it also exits somewhere along the line on another part of the rim. So as long as you're able to see the crack through its entirety, okay, this could be what they call retained die break, which is eventually going to become a cud once that piece falls off the die. And this is again showcasing the wear and tear that the machinery and the bits and pieces, the dies, endure after so many tens of thousands of strikes. And striking up these steel cents is no easy task. The metal's pretty hard and it does a number on the dies. And that's why we're finding a lot of these. So you're probably asking yourself, there can't be too much value in these in this condition. Well, in this particular case, this one sold for $21.49 with 3 bids. These are widely collected by progression, all the way up till they become a full-fledged cud die break. So yeah, there is some market to this. And there is also another piece by the same seller. This time, we're showcasing a 1943 S. This is a San Francisco minted example right here with the same type of anomaly. This time a little bit higher up on the wheat stock, not too much more though, but yeah, same thing, retained, pre-cut, die break, whatever you want to call it. Showcases a lot of that same stuff along with displacement. You can see just the overall outside line that formulates the left side of this wheat stock, and then when you get to the crack, it shifts over, and that's what the displacement is. If you don't have displacement, some would say that it's really not a pre-cut and just a die crack, so keep that in mind. This one, like the previous coin, sold for $21.49. This time, 4 bids collected to that amount. Now here's another favorite, just again letting you guys know that these are still being found in droves out there. There was actually no shortage of this particular variety that can be found on the 1995 Philadelphia Lincoln Memorial set. This one is the DDO, or doubled die obverse. It's referred to as the FS101. Just take a look at the word liberty and the words in the motto, "In God We Trust," and you'll understand why this coin is a favorite. Yeah, they're not the most expensive coins, but they're guaranteed cash, guys. If you find one in just about any condition, they are going to be worth pulling out and probably reselling. And then you can take that money and treat your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend to a really nice dinner. You know, it's that impactful. This coin sold for $40.50 with 2 bids. Not too shabby considering it's not a high-end example, but it does show some of the best varieties that the U.S. Mint had conjured out during this time. Yeah, this is a pretty neat one, and it's gone unnoticed for a really long time, but boy, this thing circulated quite a bit. It's a 2019 Lincoln Shield set. There weren't really a ton of great photos. I picked out the 2 best that help personify the overall condition of the coin, plus the anomaly in question. So you'll see a pretty sizable die crack that runs from the rim and into the date. All right, there's even a few little interior die break die chips in there as well. But yeah, something as simple as this, you know, can be a notable find. This particular example, although not pretty, ended up selling for $25. I mean, where else can you go and find something like this that's really not all that pretty and end up getting 2,500 times your face value? eBay, baby, and that's where it's at. Our first piece of currency is a beauty. 1988 $1 Fed Reserve note. Has obviously some printing issues going on here with the serial numbers all shifted to the left along with those seals. This is what they call a misaligned overprint or third print in the error community among currency folks. And yeah, the sheet was just misaligned. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't stacked correctly within the other sheets, and then you get stuff like this. So pretty neat error. This particular one right here, really solid sale at $205.50 was what this one hammered at. There's a little bit of the reverse pick for you, just showing some of the general circulation wear. Not the prettiest example, but just to let you guys know, this was found in circulation. Another good one right here that for a longest time really didn't get a whole lot of due because they are quite common. But just because it's common doesn't mean they're worth zero. It's the 1998 Lincoln Memorial set with the wide AM reverse. This is a variety that was being found through a few different dates, from 98 to 2000. Of course, you guys know the 1999 type of this variety is quite scarce and considerably more valuable. But how about some of the more cheaper ones? You can see the pretty big gap between the letter A and M on this one. And, you know, even in this condition, for being such a common variety, ended up selling for $10. So, again, not a wildly expensive amount of money, but it all goes in the one bucket, and you would be surprised how many $5, $10, $15 sales can really build up into something pretty big. We had a couple really nice varieties from Brian Rybar, who's one of the main attributors online, and he deals normally in Jefferson nickels, but he has quite a few Lincoln cents that he sells on eBay, and he sells daily. I mean, the guy is an animal. And this is a really nice mint-state 1961D. Yes, it is a very nice variety too. It's an RPM. This is one of the more well-known ones. It's the D over horizontal D RPM. That's pretty clear to see here. So the secondary or the first punch of the D was rotated 90 degrees. So you're able to see the serif right there on the left side. This is also referred to as the FS501. This particular coin is quite common out there. If you're an active searcher of this particular variety, I'm happy to say that you're not going to have too much trouble finding this one. This one sold for $35.40, and that's mostly due to the fact that this is a really nice minty red example. Another good one right here, albeit a little bit earlier date, but this shows the power of cherry picking. Being able to identify some even earlier dated coins that you can find at a coin shop or a show. Maybe they're getting rid of these for 50 cents to $1, and you're just kind of picking through them with your little magnifier. Which, by the way, if you need one, I got some down below in my description box. A lot of Amazon links. I do get paid a very small portion. Not enough to buy a loaf of bread sometimes. But, hey, it's an important tool, and you can pick one up for under $10 really easily. But this variety right here is RPM number 2. You can see the secondary D is a little bit west of the primary. So take a look at these guide arrows to know what you're looking at. The mint mark also has a little bit of machine doubling too. So this is one of those cases where you have machine doubling and an actual variety all kind of bunched up into one. Someone had asked if there is possible to have both machine doubling and a variety, and there sure is. This is one of those here. This one sold for $48.90. Very scarce one, not one that people come across regularly. So again, the older you get on these varieties, the more that they're worth. One of my favorites, it's been quite some time since I found one of these. The last one I think I just ended up buying as the attributable variety. 1964p Lincoln Memorial Set. This one is a very, very well-known doubled die reverse. It's in the Cherry Picker's Guide as well. And yeah, take a look at some of the doubling here. Most notable on United States of America, you can see the doubled serifs of like the letter S. You can see the notching all over the place. But also pay attention to E pluribus unum. Yeah, check out all the notching on there as well. This is a very strong one. It would certainly help if you had like a 10 times power magnifier somewhere around there to be able to identify stuff like this. It's not really easy to see with the naked eye, especially if it has a lot of circulation wear. But this one right here sold for $85.99, and a lot of that has to do with its condition. It's a really nice premium mint state red example, and that's what most collectors want and are willing to pay more money for. All right, well, a coin like this can certainly circulate quite a bit before it's found. We have a 1983 Denver Roosevelt dime. Okay, you guys know what's going on with this one? It's the same coin in spite of the different background images, like the table or whatever being used. But the picture on the left was taken with more natural light. It was on a wooden table, but the photo on the right is the same coin. And what we have here is a missing clad obverse layer. So that nickel layer on the obverse wasn't even existent during the strike, or even with that planchet. So yeah, it was just left out. Coin might have been just a hair thinner as well. You could see a little weakness in the strike on that obverse. But pretty cool. I mean, this is something that went through many hands for many years, and all it took was one very astute collector or roll hunter to find this thing, and that was a pretty nice score. This one sold for $54.80 with 3 bids. And again, this is another great example of a coin that some would say, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and grade it. But as a standalone, and you're able to take really good photos, it sells itself. All right. I would imagine that this coin graded probably would be worth about $100 to $125. It's not mint state condition at all, probably more AU, so that's going to play into the value of it as well. Let's see, the weight is 1.9 grams, so a little bit lighter weight by, I think, I don't know, what, half a gram or somewhere around there. But yeah, I'm glad to see pictures like this of the actual weight. That helps a lot. Well, this thing is crazy. So this is one of the more crazier gutter folds I've seen in quite some time. You have just a really wide Mississippi River style of gutter going through the note left to right, or right to left, whatever. But gutter folds are created when there's a wrinkle or two in the sheet, all right, and it never got stretched out before the print occurred. The wrinkle is printed over, and you're left with gutters like this, just an omission of print. You could probably fold it back up, so that way, it's a wrinkle again. But yeah, this one also has a little bit smaller gutter right here as well. So it's a dual gutter, but I think your attention is probably drawn to this much larger one. Even shows on the reverse, the wrinkles never got pressed out at all, except maybe after the third print. But yeah, this is a remarkable note here. One of the more major looking gutter folds, and it's sold for $163.89, and that's with 35 bids. Hard to believe that something like this was found recently and sold ungraded. Now, I'm going to say that this coin is probably worth about double of what the value it's sold at. I know that for a fact because I've seen quite a few of these sell over the last 10 years, that I know the market for them. But this is a 1988 Lincoln cent that was struck over an already produced Roosevelt dime, probably a 1988 as well. They call this a double denomination, or an 11-cent coin. These are very, very, very scarce, but they're still, to this day, they're being found in circulation. As strange as that sounds, there have been a number of them that have popped up on Facebook groups and stuff like that, where people have said, yeah, I found this, recently, or they found it a year ago and they just never done anything with it. But these are incredible coins, and they're probably very high on the list of what an era collector would want. It's all about, at this point, finding a reasonably priced one, because these things for the longest time used to be like $1,500 to $2,000, and they've come down a little bit. Okay, especially this one here that ended up selling for $474. And it was put on eBay as a regular bid style auction. So there were 17 bids altogether to collect this amount of money. So the coin, probably purchased, will end up being graded, and it will be offered on the secondary market for about $1,000. That's generally the going rate for these, grades AU and up. This one does appear to have a little bit of circulation wear on it, which is okay. That's fine by me. Just showing that this thing floated around cash registers and, through rolls for a while. Our next piece of currency here is the 1969 $20 bill. Much like the first note that we saw today, has a little bit of a misaligned overprint shifted to the right. All right, so you can find these on occasion, if you have access to larger amounts of these smaller head notes, is what they call them, the obsolete design, you can find something like this. This one sold for $155.33 with 12 bids this time. Again, showing the reverse. There's definitely some folds in there. It's got some circulation, so it did float around for a while, unnoticed. All right, again, very minor, but if you know what you're looking at when you're looking through these, and you got to take your time, all right? Don't dismiss a coin just because, at first glance, without getting a magnifier, that it's nothing. So this is a 1999 Lincoln Memorial cent. Generally, you would look on the reverse to see if this is a wide AM. This one is not, and that's not the reason why it's here. But it's got a pretty notable spike head, along with a few interior die breaks, the little chips. Goes right into Lincoln's skull. And surprisingly, this one carries quite a bit of value. It ended up selling for $29.99, which is a pretty good sale for something like this. Much later dated spike heads have a hard time fetching $5. So this is probably one of the more scarcer dates, and people do collect these by date. If it's unattributed on a website like Cuds on Coins, they'll actually send it off to get attributed and with their name as the creditor on there. So pretty cool find. $30. I mean, that's pretty good. Here's another Wounded Eagle, and boy, this coin looks wounded. It's got quite a bit of wear on there. It looks like it might have been cleaned as well. It's a 2000p, as you guys know, that's the date to look for. Minted into oblivion. There are tons of 2000p sack dollars out there. In case you guys need a refresher, you got a couple of die gouges that go right through the eagle's breast area. That's what makes up the Wounded Eagle variety. It's in the Cherry Picker's Guide, very well known. And this one sold for $85. Considering that, you know, it might have some condition issues, that's a really good sale. We only have one lot, and it comes in the way of a trio of 1964 Denver minted clips. We have a nickel, a Lincoln cent, and a silver rosy, all sold for $19.99, which is pretty good. You know, you could probably get close to doubling up your money on this if you bought it and sold them individually, especially off of the Roosevelt. That coin by itself is a $20 bill. But this one was offered by one of the more well-known error dealers on eBay. I think it was, Hartsville Coin or one of those guys. This lot right here, again, $19.99 is a really good pickup. Pretty nice error here. We've seen quite a few of these along the years from the PCMR. 1999P Jefferson nickel is a Broadstrike error. The coin is probably closer to the size of a standard Washington quarter. All right. Again, there was no collar present when this was struck, so a lot of your metal flow went outwards as expected. Kind of like pushing your finger in Play-Doh. You know, all that material goes outwards because there's nothing holding it in at that point. This one sold for a $20 bill. Pretty neat one here on a generally very well-worn 1927S Standing Liberty quarter. This is a good one to cherry pick if you like hunting through, you know, your old silver, your 90% bulk, you know. There are a few what they call clashed E varieties, and they're all in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And it's actually the E from E pluribus unum from the reverse that's clashed into the drapery area, so it's going to be on the left side of the kneecap there. You can see the backwards E. Okay, that's normal. That's what you want to find. They're not always there, but yeah, you can even see a few of the other letters from pluribus right here, also clashed in there. So that's kind of like another marker to let you know that you do have that particular variety. But yeah, that's another deep clash that very few people know about, but these things are always hunted because they are very, very well collected. This one right here is sold for $58.50. I can imagine the coin was originally picked up for maybe $10 or so, because it is a little bit tougher date. If and only if it was sold as a single, but if it's like in bulk silver or whatever, then you'll pay whatever the melt value is. Oh, pretty neat. Yeah, I love serial number hunting. We have a fancy here to talk about. This is a standard radar fancy serial number on this $2 bill. So the first four numbers reads the same backwards on the second half of the serial number, and that's what you call a radar or a palindrome. This one right here, really nice shape as well. Ended up selling for $22.75 with 13 bids. So that's a 11x multiplier there on that one. And another good one to look out here. This one's actually pretty decent. It's a 1921S Buffalo nickel. This is the aforementioned two feather variety. So there was a little bit of over abrasion in this area to eliminate the third feather. Very well collected. People are looking for these in grades XF and higher. This one's not quite XF. You don't really have too much detail on the buffalo on the reverse. For I think probably a VG is where this one is. It does have a full date. I will give it that. But yeah, guys, this is a good one to cherry pick. And dealers generally don't care about these. all too much, and that's why they end up in bulk bins and stuff for $1. So another good cherry picking opportunity. This one sold for $80, by the way. Probably one of the more scarcer dates of this variety. This might be the last piece of currency, I believe. Actually, we got one more after this, but this is a 2003 $1 bill. Some would say miscut, but pay attention to the overprint. The overprint is actually oriented correctly on the note. It's in its correct position. It's the first initial print along with the reverse print that are misaligned. So pretty crazy here on this note. There's you could say it's a miscut and a misalignment. That this is something that's hard to reproduce if you're trying to fake it. This particular note ended up selling for $153.70. I feel like it could have gone a lot more. It would probably be more impactful if graded, because the note is crisp and circulated. It looks like it came out of a bank strap, to be honest. Now, this is something that will get overlooked, but I'm telling you, you do enough hunting, you will find stuff like this. This is a 1917 S Lincoln Wheat Cent. The coin is in generally pretty decent shape. But yeah, when do you notice something missing? Is it the S in trust in the motto? Yeah, that's what we're looking at, and that's the big reason why this one sold for anything measurable. But yeah, the S in the die was clogged with just gunk and grease and debris, which will show up as nothing on the coin when struck. This one sold for $50.44 with 14 bids. Again, a coin that generally is worth about a quarter can be worth a ton of money off of piddly little tiny anomalies like this. By the way, that was bid up 14 times. There were quite a few people that were very interested in this one. Here's our last currency addition to this edition of the PCMR. We actually have a pair of dollar bills, sequential serial numbers, and that's important for this reason. The anomalies that you see on both are what they call insufficient inking. So the ink wells were drying up here when the first print was being applied. And the reason why that the sequential serial numbers is meaningful is because of the placement of the insufficient inking. These notes were back to side by side on the sheet. So that makes sense. Now, if there are two different serial numbers, two different dates, that would be a little bit of suspicion right there. That would be suspect. But this one right here, I have no doubt in my mind, is legit. The notes are in pretty decent shape. The reverse showing a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of wear on the edges there. I don't know if these actually circulated, but maybe they weren't stored properly. The pair here sold for $150, so $75 a piece. That's actually not too bad for this type of error. Two more coins left. How about a 1974D? And to think that you can't find errors on Denver minted coins. Shame on you. Look at this thing. Big old gnarly huge cut die break on the obverse. You can even see the weakness on the reverse. That's all the things you want to look at. This is a phenomenal find. A very strong one. And again, see that Denver mint mark? Yeah, that makes this one extraordinary because it just goes to show you that even the Denver Mint screwed up a few times during its day. This one right here sold for $87.99. What a great sale on this coin. The bigger they are, the more that they're worth. And then finally, the coin that broke the internet in 2022 is back again. This time we have to show you what is going on with this quarter. It's a Wilma Mankiller with the obverse retained die break, and you have all sorts of strike through grease mess on the front and back. We do see that, but is this coin like stained? Is it corrosion? What's going on here? The coin hasn't been out long enough, but it doesn't take much for a coin to come out like this. You know, any sort of chemical reaction to cleaners or certain other stuff can make a coin look all splotchy and weird like this. So yeah, this is a pretty big error for 2022. The coin generally sells from $200 to $800. depending if you have just the single-sided error or the double-sided with the reverse crack that goes through the star. This is a cool find, and this one right here sold for $300. I don't know what was the line of thought for this one, considering its appearance. It's not a beautiful coin by any stretch, but could it be something else? I don't know. It could be grease residue, because that's kind of like a darkish gray color. Is that grease residue all over the coin? I kind of doubt it, because it doesn't fall in line with the actual dye flow. So again, it's up for interpretation. If you guys have any thoughts on this one, I would say this is a coin with problems. I'm just going to leave it at that. But $300, someone really wanted this one really bad. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this video gave you a little bit of inspiration to do some hunting of your own. There's a lot of good stuff out there today as we approach the holidays. Everybody's going to be roll hunting. Everybody's going to be doing their thing and cherry picking some nasties out there. Did you guys have a favorite for this week? We'll love to hear about it. Go ahead and post it below in the comments. But most importantly, I would love all this extra support. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, smash the share, send it to a buddy of yours, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Would love all the extra support and endorsement. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Thank you guys again for another stunning show. You guys take care, happy hunting, and I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.